Hey, we made it to Friday. How about that? It's Jim, it's Amadeus, and what a week, my friend. It's been all kinds of fun soccer, and yesterday, um, you know, the Italians and the Spaniards played a an outstanding game. It was a fun game to watch, but you got out of there with the big win, my friend.
Yeah, I did. That was Spain was my game of the year. I also, had them to win the group, and they won the group with that win yesterday. So big win for Spain. I will say credit to Italy because they defended very well in that match. Got a little unlucky with the own goal. It probably should have ended in a 0-0 draw. But other than defending well, I mean they weren't really much of a threat on the attack. So yeah, bit of a mixed card if you're Italy, and a bit of a mixed card if you're Spain. You generated chances, but you failed to finish yourself. But still, good teams find ways to get the job done, and that's exactly what Spain did yesterday, and that's why they're a threat to win this tournament.
Absolutely, and everybody has in the group drew yesterday, so that adds yet even more drama to this melodrama we've got going in the first round.
Yeah, definitely. There was, obviously England with the Denmark draw. That one was a bit of a shock there. England still, they've played two matches now, and they're not looking that great, and they're one of the favorites of the tournament. So luckily, Denmark drew their first match with Slovenia. So England still has a 2 point lead in that group, but absolutely that could have been a little more dangerous going into the final match day. Albania and Croatia, they're both with 1 point in that Spain Italy group, and Italy's sitting in second right now with 3 points. But things could change with this final match. Obviously, Italy and Croatia have to play each other, so Croatia gets a win there. That's 4 points for them, and that could boost them into second place. So definitely a lot to play for in these groups still.
Absolutely, and we would the nightcap, uh, Copa America's first match was a lot more exciting if you're a Canadian fan than you might expected once you started.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I was on, Argentina minus 1.5 myself, and was fortunate to get that second goal late in the match, even though, Messi had a few one-on-one chances that he just outright missed. Probably should have put that in. So, credit to Crepeau there, the Canadian keeper. But yeah, definitely, if you're Canada, I mean, you weren't expectations weren't high going into that match as much as they wanted to, hype up the matchup here. The expectations weren't high. You weren't expected to beat the world champions, but they came out strong in the first half. They had quite a few chances to score a goal. They caught Argentina's defense out. So if I'm Canada, even though you lost 2-0, that match is a lot tighter than the score line shows. And if I'm Canada, I'm taking away positives from that. That was a very good performance, and against a weaker Chile or Peru side in the group, they could do some damage. And this is why I picked them to qualify at plus 250. I just think they're and it's interesting because. I mentioned how Chile and Peru is more knock on them. They're older teams, slower teams. And the funny thing is, I was watching some of the Canadian media before the game when they were interviewing the players and the coach and things. And that was one message that the coach had to the players. Yeah, you don't have the experience or maybe even the same talent level that the world champions do, but you're younger than they are, you're faster than they are, so you should focus on, and you're bigger than they are. They're a smaller team size wise. So he said those are the things you should focus on, trying to catch them out. And they were able to get behind the defense a few times. So definitely some positives for Canada taken away from that first Copa America match.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like the line in Ford versus Ferrari when they asked Carroll Shelby uh, why Ferrari should be afraid of them because we're faster, we're tougher, and we're meaner. So that I think that talks about what's going on with the Italian team. They're tough. They realize what has to be done. They've done it before, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's talk for a second about what comes next in Copa America, which the full slate starts to pick up after last night's opener.
Yeah, so last night was the opener, just the one match. Tonight we just have the one match as well. It's the other two in that group, Peru and Chile, going. That one's at 8 o'clock Eastern. But yeah, after today, it starts to get into it. There's two matches every day. So one at 8, one at 11 o'clock. This is Eastern time. So or sorry, not 11 o'clock. One at 5 and one at 9 is the way they're doing it. So there's going to be two matches every day for Copa America. It's not like Euro Cup, like I said on a show earlier. It's a much smaller field, so not as many matches to be played in this group stage. But yeah, we're getting a full slate on Saturday. Two matches every day. It's going to be Ecuador and Venezuela on Saturday, as well as Mexico and Jamaica. So obviously Ecuador and Venezuela, they play each other quite a bit in South America, and Mexico and Jamaica are two teams that play each other quite a bit in these CONCACAF competitions over the last few years. So definitely the Saturday slate is going to be a battle between teams that are quite familiar with each other.
Yeah, that definitely has a situation where you want to take a look at it and go, okay, well, we've been here, we've done that with these people. There's a lot to be said for that. I mean, you're not, the good news is you're not as intimidated at that point.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? And that's going to be the big thing for mainly the six North and Central American teams that are joining the competition this year, just because they don't play these competitions with the South American teams, and the CONCACAF just started, doing more competitions lately, the Nations League and the Gold Cup, right? For years, there really wasn't any version of a Copa America for the North American anyway. So that's why it's so important. In this first match, you have an opponent you're going up against, and yeah, you can prepare more. You have tape even on a previous match you've played against them in the last 2 years. So it's huge for the first match, because then again, the next two matches in the group, you're going to be playing against a team that you haven't really played before, and it's going to take a bit to settle into that match, just because you still have to get a feel for your opponent, and you don't want to get caught off guard right away. You don't know what's going to work well off the bat. So definitely, I would say it's a bit of an advantage, having a familiar opponent in these first matches for those teams.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the key things to it, and you hit it right on the head, is that you know from a standpoint of familiarity, you look at it and you can kind of gauge it and say, okay, this is what we did well the first time we played. Can we do it again? Or this is what we didn't do well in the first time. Can we fix it?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what makes it a little more of an exciting match, right? Like, obviously, Mexico here, minus 154 favorite, for example, over Jamaica. And, Jamaica's a team that's played them quite a bit. Maybe this is a match Jamaica, it's at a neutral site in the U.S. Maybe this is a match that Jamaica can get a draw out of, or something like that, against Mexico, because, as you said, they they can look at what they did last time, what they can do better, if they need to fix anything, and they can test that out here, and really try to take it to Mexico, as that's a familiar opponent.
Absolutely. And the other thing that I noticed last night in Atlanta um, was that the crowd was very, I think it's not, we shouldn't be surprised. They were heavily leaning Argentina. And so I think, with these games being played, for the most part on neutral ground, it's going to be interesting to see how, the audience comes in and goes for it, right? Because it's not like we talked about the cool opportunities that in Euro with trains going back and forth to Germany. There definitely would be some fans there from some of the smaller countries who could get in there and really, tilt things in, in the direction of their side. That is not necessarily the case here with Copa America, having some of these games being stretched all over the United States and in places where, folks from South America, it's not an easy trip to get here.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great point to bring up, right? Because it's not the same at all geographically, and that's where really the demographic of the United States comes in. You're going to get certain teams that do have a home advantage. Obviously, USA is going to get a lot of supporters in their matches because they're the host nation, and it's going to be easy anywhere, wherever they're playing. It doesn't matter what city. There's going to be Americans who want to go support their team. But also, as we saw last night with Messi playing in the MLS, there's going to be just a ton of Messi fans that are rooting for Argentina in general. So that's going to help them throughout the tournament. Argentina is obviously going to have a bit of a home advantage in their matches. And same, I would even say, with Mexico, obviously with the Spanish population closer to the south there. Definitely there will be Mexicans in the building supporting their team. So I think it's interesting because you're going to have certain teams that have more of a home advantage versus, some of these other teams like Bolivia and Panama, who are definitely not going to have as many fans traveling to those games.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing too to look out for is, and I've done games out in Los Angeles where it's been the U.S. national team playing the Mexican national team, and it's like 2-1 Mexican fans. So Mexico does travel here within the United States, and so that's going to help them. But the other thing too, and you brought it up, is that the U.S. audience is now far more savvy about international soccer than they probably ever have been. If you look at it, we are lucky enough here in the United States and in Canada as well to probably have access to more soccer from all over the world than any other nation that plays the game. It's just you can watch pretty much any of the major leagues without too much trouble here in the United States. Meanwhile, some of these other countries, just don't have the access to it. So, and the other thing is that these, much of these games are played in the early, in the morning and in the afternoon. So, you've got a lot of kids who know a lot about this, and actually have turned the parents onto it, and they're all excited. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen these kids wearing the jerseys of a team from Spain or Italy, or certainly the Premier League, and so it's not foreign to them. That's the cool part of it.
Yeah, and it's just a testament to how the game is growing over here. Like I said, a few weeks ago in the mall, I saw a kid wearing a Ronaldo jersey,
Right?
which,
Yeah.
okay, there's so many Ronaldo jerseys, but he was wearing a Ronaldo jersey for Al Nasser, and Ronaldo's only been there, the last year and a half, really, right?
Right.
Since the last World Cup. So that should go to show you it doesn't matter where these players go to play in the world. The fans find them here in North America, and they follow them. So it doesn't matter what age and what area they find them, even playing out in Saudi Arabia. And there's a lot of players that have gone there. Obviously, I believe Neymar is playing over there and Riyad Mahrez. So I think Benzema as well. So the Saudi league, they've been tossing the cash around, and obviously the story was how Messi and Mbappe rejected their massive deals they got, but there's still ton of quality players. That league is growing, but like I said, it's a testament. The fact that those jerseys are selling over here is a testament to how the game's growing over here, because obviously it doesn't matter where in the world these players are, the fans are finding them and the fans will follow them.
Absolutely. And the fun part is that you're enjoying the game, and that's got to grow the game. And we're not gonna. I'm saying this as a United States citizen. We're not winning this tournament. Okay, it's not going to happen. But that being said, just to participate in this tournament, just to have these teams come to your country and play on your pitch, and having your audience have the opportunity to come and watch them helps grow the sport, but also helps grow the potential of, we talked about this yesterday, about things that Canada and the US share in the fact of not necessarily getting all of our best athletes into the pipeline. This is an opportunity to showcase something and say, hey, look, I know you want to play professional baseball. I know that you want to play, in the NFL or in the NBA. But guess what? There's yet another thing here that you might want to take a look at.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Soccer really, it's the easiest sport to play because all it really requires is a ball, and you just
Hmm.
have to learn how to dribble with the ball. With basketball, you don't need really equipment too much, but you still need to find a hoop. That's
That would
unless
be
you
helpful. Yeah.
yeah, unless you like buy a hoop, obviously you have one on your driveway, but not everybody can buy one, or you have to go to the local park, right? So it's a tougher sport to play still. Tennis, again, you need to go to the local court. Hockey, you need equipment for, and football, things like that. So soccer, really, you can set up two pylons and play a game anywhere. Really, you just need a ball and or even dribble yourself. So it's definitely it's going to grow. It's only going to grow over here in North America, and as you said, it's going to continue. It helps playing in these tournaments. That's what I was getting at with the CONCACAF competitions. Before Copa America took in these six teams, USA, Canada, they wouldn't be playing in anything right now, and that's where the growth gets stunted, right? When you're at qualify for the next World Cup because you're still some of the better teams in your continent, but then you don't manage to do well at the next World Cup. Well, when the last World Cup is the last major competition you really played in, it doesn't help. So definitely playing in these kind of competitions with other countries that you're going to see on the world stage like that, the Argentinas, the Brazils, the Colombias, the ones that are threats in every year in these World Cups and these Copa America competitions. Absolutely, it helps the quality grow on the pitch.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, because I consider you someone who's you've watched soccer for a long time. You break it down. I don't think that I don't think, I'll be honest with you. I don't think that I met anybody like you and Sean, who can break down uh, the leagues, and we're talking about leagues that uh, are all over the world, not just in Europe, and know who these players are and what these players can do. So if we can tap onto your knowledge, your knowledge base, we have a group of people who may be watching this, for the first or second time. What are some of the things, if you're a young soccer player, some of the people you want them to watch, um, from some of these teams, or just watch some of these teams uh, as they grow in their sport, as the young soccer players play, in leagues all over the country, both in the United States and in Canada.
Yeah, well, obviously, if you're a young player, you've probably been growing up watching Ronaldo and Messi the last few years in the later stages of their career. So obviously, everybody wants to be like them, two of the best players in the world. But right now, if you're really looking to get professional, I would take a look at some of these young players because as Messi and the Ronaldos, obviously they're not, they're in the later stages of their career. Messi's in the MLS. Ronaldo's in Saudi Arabia. They're not playing in the best leagues in the world. And look at the players who are. It's the young players that are taking over, the Jude Bellinghams, the Kylian Mbappes, those type of players, right? So those are the players I would be looking at, right? These young phenoms, Lamine Yamal, who's 16
Hmm.
years old, youngest player to ever play at the Euro Cup. Him and Nico Williams, we always talk about how players are going to get noticed at this tournament that maybe don't get noticed at the club level. Well, Nico Williams, he's a guy, he plays at Athletic Bilbao over in Spain, and he's always getting kind of overshadowed on the team by his older brother Inaki Williams, and now it's funny because his brother Inaki Williams actually plays for Ghana, so that's why he's not in this tournament. And Nico Williams plays for the Spanish team, and he was the star of the pitch for Spain yesterday against Italy. So these are the players that you should definitely be watching. It's this young generation, because these players like Bellingham and Mbappe, these are going to be, the next Messi's, the next Ronaldo's, and even if they're not as good, this is the generation of players that you're going to be watching for the next 15, 20 years.
Absolutely. The other thing too is that the I'm going to use the term undercard, but basically the role players on these teams also need to get some love too, because they certainly have been outstanding when it comes to what to look for as we move forward in the in soccer. You got to have the role players. You don't get the ball. Somebody's got to get the ball to Messi and Ronaldo and those guys to score, and Mbappe to score. And so you may not be the star on your team, but you know what? You can contribute if if you play in a system.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Antoine Griezmann is a great example of that, right? He's a guy who, when everybody was talking about Mbappe at the last World Cup and, France was going on their run, Griezmann was kind of just flying under the radar, and he was the guy. He was the one who was running that entire attack. He was distributing the ball all over the pitch, whether it was to Mbappe down the left or Dembele down the right. So he was really the obviously, Mbappe is the focal point. He's the one that you want to get the ball to, but really everything was running through Griezmann in that tournament. So, he's a great example, and you see players like that all the time who maybe don't get the credit for sure, but they're the ones running the offense. Like today, Austria won 3-1 in the noon match against Poland, and Baumgartner was obviously the story for them. He scored the go ahead goal to make it 2-1, and he was playing very well. But I think Marcel Sabitzer was. He was definitely all over the pitch for Austria. He's been phenomenal in 2 games now, and he's a guy that doesn't get talked a lot about. And I thought he did wonders in his short stint over at Man United, and he was great, I believe, for Dortmund this season. So yeah, definitely these midfielders that really run everything kind of runs through them. Sometimes don't get talked about enough, for sure.
Yeah, and I think that the other part of the equation too, that you don't want to miss out on, is that we're talking about teams that that are power teams, but at the end of the day, you're only as good as the weakest guy on the team. So
Yeah.
there's depth on these teams. They're not just 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah, 100%. And, we'll see it with England will be a great example. They didn't look impressive in their last match against Denmark, didn't look impressive in their 1-0 win against Serbia. Obviously, they're probably going to get out of the group, but this third match is a great match to tinker with things. And they're a team that has a ton of talent on the bench, right? So maybe that's what England needs to do in this last match against Slovenia, is just let's tinker with the lineup a bit and see. Let's try something different, because I used some similar players in the first 2 matches. It hasn't gone the way that I've wanted it to, and maybe that's the beauty of having that depth, right? You go to the bench, and the talent really doesn't waver when you go to the bench for a team like England. So.
Well, that I think is the key, right? If you don't get drop off when you put somebody in, that's a testament to just how deep that team is.
Yeah, and that's why I use them as an example, right? So you can go into this third match, and maybe you go to that bench depth, you tinker with the lineup a bit, because worst case you draw again, you're still getting out of the group. So yeah, definitely this match it would be the one to try some different things for them.
Yep, and there's definitely going to be plenty of opportunity for that in those games. So Over the weekend, as we look forward to Saturday and Sunday, what jumps off the page in both of the tournaments for you?
Yeah, so obviously, the two matches on Saturday for Copa America with Ecuador, Venezuela, and Mexico, Jamaica will be good. The Sunday match is not so much. USA plays Bolivia. They kind of gave them a bit of a cupcake to open up the tournament. Host nation, you don't want to. So it's understandable. You want to give them the weakest team in the group. Let them hopefully run up the scores and get some excitement for the team. So. They're minus 500, and I mean, it really Bolivia is one of the worst teams in South America, so that's why should be a nice win for USA in that when Uruguay plays Panama in the other match. So the Saturday matches are better in Copa America for sure. In the Euro Cup, tomorrow we have Turkey and Portugal, and those are the two teams in that group that have 3 points right now. So that match could very well decide the group if Portugal or Turkey goes on to win. It puts them in a very good position. And Belgium and Romania is one to watch. Obviously, Romania got that big 3-0 win over the Ukraine in their first match, and Ukraine got a win today, so they have 3 points along with Slovakia, who also has 3 points in that group, who beat Belgium in their first match. And Belgium's actually in last with 0 points there. So this is a big match for Belgium if they want to get back in the group. If Belgium beats Romania, we could see a 4-way tie with 3 points in that group. So that'll be very interesting. And then Sunday is the start of round 3 in the Euro Cup when there's only 2 matches a day and they're going to be played at the same time. So that'll be Sunday's matches are Scotland, Hungary, and then Switzerland and Germany. So that'll be some interesting, Scotland, Hungary. That'll have group implications for sure to see if someone comes out of that group in third place.
It's going to be wild, I'll tell you. And the fun part of it, is that is what you talk about, the importance of being able to, the importance of being able to sit there and really enjoy the games because, we'll have to decide which games we want to watch, right? Because they all count big time.
Yeah, definitely. Now that we're getting into these round 3s, that's why they play the matches at the same time. So you're not focused on who's doing what in your group. Do you need to play your final match? Nope, everybody plays at the same time. So you just go take care of your business on the pitch.
There you go. And hope that they do. So, all right. Well, speaking of hope that they do, one more quick thing. Your thoughts on tonight's hockey? It's going to be. It's either going to be the last game of the season, or it's going to be prolonging us for yet one more opportunity.
Yeah, look, we touched a bit on it yesterday, so all I'm gonna say is if there's any team that can come back and win it, it's this Oilers team. So I say they win tonight, and they're gonna win on Monday night and hoist the cup in Florida. But we'll find out.
Well, it's gonna be a lot of fun, that's for darn sure. And we'll see how that goes. Meanwhile, more importantly, talking about fun, what can we do this weekend? By looking at your best bets so that we can have some fun winning some money.
Yeah, make sure you check out my premium picks at bigal.com, pickadvisor.com, and theinsidersroom.com. The links in the description below. I cashed my game of the year with Spain yesterday in the Euro Cup, and I'm off to a 2-0 start today in the Euro Cup. Had the over in that early match with Ukraine and Slovakia, and then I had Austria in the last match against Poland. So 2-0 start. I do have a play on the Netherlands-France match if you want to check that out, as well as a play in tonight's Peru-Chile match. So make sure you go check that out.
Well, by all means, it'll be a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to it. So good on you, and let's sit back and cash those tickets.
Oh yeah.
All right. Okay, everybody. Hope that you had a good week and have a lovely weekend. Nice, safe weekend. And Amadeus and I will see you soon. Back on Monday, everybody. Until then, take care.